In a suburban neighborhood, a man named Lorenzo is being chased by a criminal known as Angel. However, while hiding in the bushes, his cell phone rings and he is discovered. Upon seeing the criminal, Lorenzo tries to explain himself and promises to pay the money he owes him. However, Angel doesn't believe him and knocks him to the ground, pulls out a dagger and stabs him repeatedly. After that, one of his men tells him that they have located the young woman that Angel was looking for. The man is pleased with the news and decides to go after her, but not before eliminating Lorenzo with a kick to the head. Far away, the couple Brandon and Sophia are enjoying an afternoon together, until the young man shows her a ring and asks her to marry him. Sophia accepts the proposal and, the next day, they begin to make preparations for the ceremony. However, a mysterious man armed with a gun follows the two to their house. Sophia realizes that someone has broken into the place and warns Brandon, but he finds no one there. Even though she is suspicious, Sophia ignores it and tells Brandon that she will have to work overtime. Before leaving, the couple decides to spend a little more time together and spend the rest of the afternoon in the pool. At night, on Halloween, Sophia finishes her shift and asks Brandon to pick her up from work. However, instead of him, Fleck appears, a criminal in the service of Angel, with whom she had a relationship in the past. Fleck warns that his boss is after her and offers Sophia some of his products, but she refuses. The guy insists, but at that moment, Brandon appears and, seeing his girlfriend being bothered, he punches the madman and takes Sophia to his motorcycle. However, when he tries to kick-start, the fuel hose has already been cut by Angel's men. The only way out is to escape on foot and, when the two try to cross the bridge, they come across Angel, Fleck and their bodyguard, Jose. With nowhere to run, Brandon decides to face the three alone to give Sophia a chance to escape. He then sets off to face them on the bridge and the first to challenge him is Jose. The two exchange punches and kicks with each other and the henchman soon realizes that he cannot underestimate Brandon. Because of this, he pulls out a pocket knife and hits the young man, but he counterattacks, hitting the blade in Jose's neck. Next, it's Angel's turn to fight, but he decides to get it over with and shoots Brandon, leaving him seriously injured. Sophia runs to help her boyfriend, but is captured by Fleck, who takes her to Angel. The criminal says he never accepted the separation between them, but now, the two will get back together. Otherwise, the next ones to lose their lives will be her parents. Suddenly, Brandon tries one last effort and gets up to face Angel, but the villain shoots him again. Even so, Brandon continues to resist, so Fleck takes a Halloween pumpkin from the bridge and throws it at the young man's head, knocking him unconscious. After that, Angel takes Sophia to his mansion and leaves Brandon to die. However, minutes later, a mysterious man wearing a suit appears before the young man. He reveals himself to be the devil himself and says that he can help the young man get revenge on Angel, but it will have a price. Brandon must surrender his soul and serve him forever, collecting the souls of those he eliminates. However, he will only have 24 hours to do so, because when that time is up, his soul will be taken to hell. Faced with this dead end, Brandon accepts the deal and then the devil hands him a gauntlet, armed with sharp claws. In addition, he places a seed inside the wound on his nose, transforming Brandon's head into a flaming pumpkin, just like the one in the legend of the Headless Horseman. Finally, he sends Brandon to test his new abilities and reanimates Jose's body to serve as a guinea pig. At first, the young man refuses to use his powers to eliminate people, but the deal forces him to do so and, using the gauntlet, he removes the henchman's head. After testing the gauntlet, Brandon must learn to control his transformation. Once again, the devil reanimates Joseph's body and tells the young man to focus his power to transform into the Headless Horseman, and with great effort, he succeeds. Then, the devil teaches him to transfer his energy to the gauntlet and thus fire a powerful ray. Brandon manages to do this and the ray passes through Jose's body, who is eliminated once again. After this test, the devil warns that even with his powers, Brandon can still be hurt due to his human weaknesses. Not only that, but the only way for him to regain his energy is by feeding on human blood. Meanwhile, Angel drives Sophia to his mansion, but on the way, Fleck realizes he left his cell phone on the bridge. He then goes back to get it and finds Brandon, who is somehow still alive. He listens to the entire conversation between him and the man in the suit, but fearing for his life, he grabs his cell phone and flees in his car. Brandon notices his presence and decides to go after him, but first, he needs to regain his strength. Even against his will, Brandon approaches Jose's body, bites his neck and absorbs all of his blood. Now with his energy recovered, Brandon grabs his jacket and goes to find his motorcycle, which still has a broken fuel pipe. However, as soon as he touches it, the motorcycle repairs itself and Brandon sets off on the road with it, seeking revenge. Later, Angel arrives at his mansion and orders the security guard to lock Sophia in the room. Soon after, Fleck also arrives at the scene, still distraught by what he just saw on the bridge. His boss asks what happened and Fleck reveals that Sophia's boyfriend is still alive and now, he transforms into a knight with a flaming pumpkin head. Angel thinks this is all absurd, but Fleck says he overheard the conversation between Brandon and the guy in the suit. With that, he discovered that the young man sold his soul to the devil and has 24 hours to hand over the souls of Angel and all his henchmen. Still, Angel thinks his henchman is under the influence of his own products and leaves, not taking his warnings seriously. The next morning, Brandon searches for traces of Angel around the city, but doesn't know where to find him. On the way, he encounters two criminals on a bridge and asks where he can find their boss. The men refuse to reveal their location and one of them pulls out a gun to shoot Brandon. Unfortunately for him, the young biker transforms into the Headless Horseman and, firing his ray, he leaves the guy in pieces. Upon seeing this, his colleague despairs, but Brandon subdues him on the spot and forces him to tell him where Angel is. The guy says he can find him at the shoe factory in the neighboring town, which serves as his secret base. With this information, he decides to go there, but as soon as he releases the criminal, the man pulls out a pistol, but Brandon easily disarms him and sucks his blood. Hours later, the biker finds the factory, which serves as a front for the production of illegal substances. Brandon manages to sneak into the place and reaches the warehouse, where one of the workers is storing the production. Suddenly, he realizes that someone has broken into the place and goes to check who it is, until he finds Brandon hiding in one of the corridors. The guy then starts to attack him, but in addition to dodging the attacks, Brandon retaliates with his claws and quickly eliminates him. At the same time, in the factory office, Angel calls his partner, Moira, and asks her to get a fake identity for Sophia. His intention is to flee with the young woman to Mexico. However, Moira warns him that this will be expensive, as the customs barriers are under federal surveillance. Even so, Angel demands that it be done that very night. She then calls an expert on the subject and he accepts the job, for the price of $20,000. Angel doesn't agree with the amount, believing that his assistant is giving her a commission. Even so, he agrees to pay the amount, but warns that if anything goes wrong, Moira will pay dearly for it. Back at the warehouse, a security guard goes to check the place and ends up discovering the body of the dead employee. He then sets out to find the person responsible for this and comes across the Headless Horseman coming towards him. Without hesitation, the man pulls out his gun and shoots at the entity, but his shots do no damage and the knight retaliates with his lightning. Soon after, another worker appears and finds the intruder, but unlike his colleague, he does not think twice and runs away. However, when he sees that the door is locked, all he can do is pull out his gun and face the Headless Horseman. Before he can shoot, Brandon removes his pumpkin head and throws it at the man, who is completely engulfed in flames. After that, he finally arrives at Angel's office, but finds only Moira hiding in the room. However, the criminal attacks him by surprise and says he is surprised that Brandon managed to return, but that he will eliminate him once again. Even so, Brandon does not back down and demands to know where his girlfriend is, but instead of answering, Angel shoots him in the shoulder. The young man manages to resist the shot. However, as he has already spent a lot of energy during the invasion, Brandon falls to the ground weakened. Angel takes the chance to escape and Moira decides to do the same, but the biker stops her and demands to know where Sophia is. However, Moira says that, due to the secrecy of her profession, she does not intend to tell him where he is. Knowing that the woman will not help him, Brandon decides to make her his prey and sucks her blood to recover his energy. In the end, Moira lost her life in vain, because even without her help, Brandon manages to find the address of Angel's mansion in her notebook. Meanwhile, Sophia remains locked in the mansion's room, but one of the guards appears and warns her that she will be taken to Mexico. As soon as the man leaves the room, Sophia looks for something that can help her escape and finds a knife inside the small table. With that, she tries to open the window lock and needs to hurry, as Angel has just returned to the mansion. He meets his men outside and tells Fleck that his supernatural story was indeed true. Brandon has indeed sold his soul, and even though he has defeated him, it is only a matter of time until he shows up and eliminates everyone. However, he remembers what Fleck said about the 24-hour deadline before being taken to hell and decides to take advantage of it. If he and his men can survive during this time, Brandon will disappear and they will be free of the Headless Horseman forever. Fleck suggests fortifying the mansion and keeping him away until the time is up, but Angel has a better idea, hiding on sacred ground. If they enter a church, the knight will have no chance of confronting them. Everyone agrees with the idea and prepares to flee, but nearby, Sophia heard everything on the balcony and decides to go after her boyfriend. Suddenly, the security guard appears in the room and asks how she managed to escape, but Sophia quickly stabs him in the neck with a knife. After that, she takes the guy's gun and goes to the outside area, where she finishes off another guard with a blow to his face. Thanks to this, Sophia gains time to continue her escape. However, the guard wakes up seconds later and tells his boss that she has escaped. Furious, Angel orders all his men to look for her, but Sophia is already about to leave the mansion. However, Fleck appears before her and, to her surprise, he tries to make a peace deal. If he lets her escape, Sophia must convince the Headless Horseman to spare Fleck's life. Sophia doesn't care about this and tries to shoot the guy, but the crazy woman forgot the safety catch and the gun doesn't fire. Because of this, he shouts to everyone that he found the girl and she is captured once again. Sophia says she won't go to Mexico and, if Angel insists, she's willing to end her life if necessary. However, before she can try, Fleck knocks her unconscious with a blow to the head and Angel says he'll use the young woman to lure the knight into a trap. He then orders his henchmen to lock the girl inside the trunk and they all head towards the church in the neighboring town, called Woodsboro. Minutes later, Brandon arrives on his motorcycle at the mansion, but it is too late and Sophia has already been taken away. However, one of the security guards remained at the scene and tried to finish off the intruder, but Brandon appeared behind him and told him to tell him where they went. The man showed him the message his boss left for the Headless Horseman, telling him to meet him at the Woodsboro church. While reading the message, the security guard tries to pull his gun to kill Brandon, but he is faster and eliminates the guy with one shot. Now that he knows where Sophia is, Brandon heads to the indicated address on his motorcycle, even though he knows he is heading towards a trap. Later, at the church, Angel leaves Sophia in the parking lot and says she is waiting for Brandon to arrive so she can settle things with him. In the meantime, he asks her why she left him and Sophia reveals that it all started when her best friend, Jessica, lost her life after using a substance sold by Angel. Not only that, it was Angel himself who sold it directly to Jessica and since then, Sophia has felt enormous contempt for him. Upon hearing this, the man says he feels no remorse for what happened and warns her that, one way or another, the two will be together. Nearby, Brandon finally arrives at the church grounds and the devil appears, to see if the young man will keep his word. Before leaving, Brandon demands that when the service is completed, Sophia be free to live in peace and the devil accepts the terms. Then, the young man sets off for the final confrontation against Angel, but the devil warns him to hurry, as his time is running out. Finally, Brandon finds his arch-enemy, who quickly points the revolver in Sophia's direction. However, Brandon says he comes in peace and wants to make a deal for his girlfriend's life. If Angel leaves her alone, he will spare her life and go to hell without hurting anyone else. However, Angel doesn't take his word for it and refuses to let Sophia go, which forces Brandon to advance towards her. Unfortunately, he ends up being stopped by a water leak on the floor, indicating that, because they are on sacred ground, it has turned into holy water. Angel brags and irritates his opponent, making Brandon attack again, this time transforming into the Headless Horseman. Sophia is shocked to see what her boyfriend has become. However, Angel still has an ace up his sleeve and asks Fleck to bring his secret weapon. The weapon is the church priest himself and Angel orders him to throw holy water at the knight. Even though he is scared by the whole situation, the priest obeys the order and shoots the water at Brandon, who begins to weaken rapidly. The holy water returns him to his normal form and Angel points the revolver, promising to finish off his enemy once and for all. However, the situation reaches its limit when Brandon realizes that the 24-hour deadline is up and the entire ground begins to shake. His soul will be taken to hell, but before that, Brandon gives Sophia the key to his motorcycle and says that he will love her forever. After that, a huge hand appears from the ends of the earth and pulls Brandon to the depths, from where he will never be able to escape. With that, Angel is certain that he has emerged victorious from the confrontation and thanks the priest, who is still traumatized by what he has just witnessed. He says that he needs to report this to his superiors, but Angel forbids him, as it could expose the criminal to the authorities. Fleck's name's out of this, but insists that the church must know about the evil forces at work on Earth. Seeing that the priest will not change his mind, Angel pulls out his revolver and shoots him dead. Meanwhile, Sophia is still devastated by Brandon's tragic fate. Still, she is determined to escape, and as soon as she removes the knife hidden in her dress, she removes the restraints, grabs the motorcycle key, and runs away. Angel and Fleck only realize she's escaping when it is too late and the criminal calls his henchmen to capture the young woman. Minutes later, Sophia sets off on her motorcycle towards the bridge where it all began and tries to summon the devil. As soon as he appears, she says she is willing to make a deal to save her boyfriend's life. The entity is surprised by the young woman's attitude, but she is determined to do it, due to her love for Brandon and because she feels guilty for what happened to him. She then offers her soul for Brandon's, but the devil refuses, as exchanging one soul for another does not bring him any advantage. So, Sophia decides to double the offer and, in addition to giving up her soul, she will give him that of Angel and his men, which had been promised before by Brandon. Once again, the devil is surprised by how the humans act and agrees to make the deal. With the terms agreed upon, the entity hands him the same gauntlet he gave Brandon before. After that, the entity disappears and in its place, Brandon appears, fully revived and with his humanity restored. The two are happy with the reunion, but soon Sophia reveals that she had to make a deal with the devil to save Brandon's life. He is not happy to hear of this decision, but there is no way to reverse the deal and Sophia must face Angel and his henchmen. Meanwhile, two of the guards have just arrived at the bridge, as Angel suspected that Sophia would return to make the same deal and sent his men there. There, they come across Sophia who, unlike Brandon, has acquired the ability to teleport. With that, she appears behind the henchmen and eliminates them by firing rays from her gauntlet. Fleck arrives soon after and, upon seeing what happened, he tries to flee, but Sophia teleports again and blocks the way. The guy then begs for his life, but Sophia shows no mercy and eliminates him with an attack to the neck. At that very moment, Brandon was waiting for the confrontation to end, but Angel appeared behind him and, pointing his gun, forced him to go to Sophia. As soon as they found her, the villain threatened to eliminate the couple, but in an unexpected attack, Brandon pulled a knife from his pocket and stabbed Angel in the arm. Thanks to this attack, Sophia takes the opportunity to fire a beam at him and, shortly after, she hits his heart with her sharp claws. The fight finally seems to be over and the couple reunites again, but in a last-ditch effort, Angel takes his gun and shoots Sophia. Brandon becomes enraged and begins to attack him, until the villain can't resist his injuries and his soul is taken to hell. With the confrontation over, Brandon leaves to help Sophia, but she is also seriously injured and doesn't have much time left to live. Before leaving, she declares her love for Brandon and finally, her body disappears. Brandon does not accept that things end this way and again, invokes the devil to demand another agreement. The entity appears before the young man and says that, although he cannot make another deal, he can still modify the previous one. Therefore, in order to bring Sophia's soul back, Brandon will have to continue working for him and collect more souls. He accepts the deal and, as soon as he recovers his gauntlet and powers, he sets out in search of the souls of sinners, transforming himself once again into the Servant of Darkness, the Headless Horseman. So, what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movies recap. See you next time.